Good afternoon, folks. You have made it to the end of another week. Give yourselves a huge pat on the back. If it's been a long one, I hope that the weekend is now beckoning you on so you can play some more games and do some painting and listen to some videos while you do that as well. Before we get started, please, if you want to help me and the channel, subscribe if you can, like the video, do all that fun stuff. And also, if you want to get some really decent hobby deals, Composite Games is there for you down in the description below. Use the promo code Northern Exile to get 5% off your order at checkout from Composite Games. They already do 20% off most of their stock, so you could end up with 20% or 25% off most of the stock you get at checkout. Can't say fairer than that. It's half the GW staff discount. And also, if you are on this little page here, on this little doobly-doo, thank you very much. I am at the end of another week, so this weekend I will be updating this with the new brave Astral backers who have made their way into the this elite circle of friends and confidants that we have here. So, if you are on this list, well done to you. I love you and thank you for supporting me and the channel. And if you're not on this list yet and you have supported the channel this week, don't worry, this weekend will be the time when I do the update on this little page here. And if you want to get involved, the Patreon is down below. And also, you can become a member of the channel, all that fun stuff. I will only ever ask you to give what you can afford to give. I'm not much of an e-beggar, as you may have noticed from my other videos. So, yeah, YouTube is a painful place to be at most times when you're trying to make a little bit of money on the side doing YouTube stuff. So, if you want to support me in the channel, that's the way to do it. Or, simply subscribe. And if you can't do that, just like the video. Love you guys. Let's get started. So, we have had quite a few... first of all, if your story is not in this video, don't panic. It will be on Mondays. Because I got inundated last night with 7 or 8 stories all at once. I already had 4 or 5 ready to go. So, yeah, if you're not on this one, you'll either be on the next one or you'll be on Wednesdays. You know, I will catch up, you know I do. And I'm normally pretty quick about catching up too when people send me stories. The story at the end of today's video is an absolute fucking doozy that I'm going to have to spend quite a long time pulling apart. Because it has a lot of, well, you'll see from the title, it's got a lot of interesting shit in it. Anyway, our first story comes from Skuleo, who says, first off, my name is pronounced Skuleu. Okay, Skuleu. Okay, got it. The skew like skull. Okay, yep, got you. Also, would help you to know that I'm 14 and local to Warhammer World. Excellent. Good on you, young man. I saved the I love your vids bit for the end, as I don't want to drag on the video. I went into Word and rewrote this as the story was a fucking mess before being edited. Alrighty. Thank you for doing that. It shows a little bit of extra, extra care goes into your videos. I know somebody had to go at me the other day for, swearing too early. But if you swear in your letters, I read them verbatim. I don't change them. So here you go. As you know, there was a heresy event at Warhammer World, and I'm local. 15 minutes car journey away from Nottingham. I was really hyped to go, but Mum was poorly that week, and the event's tickets were up the same week, so I didn't have the chance to check for tickets. I was really disappointed that I was going to miss it. I called a few times throughout the week to see if they had any spaces free, but I had no luck. That all changed when I spoke to Chad 1, the name for the Games Workshop employee that I spoke to on the morning of the event. He told me to come down to Warhammer World, as he may be able to help me, but no guarantees. I arrive at 2 o'clock, and Chad 1 lets me in. Wouldn't take a detective to guess that due to the name I previously gave him, that he lets me in, you know what I mean? Yep, most definitely. I go around Warhammer World and look around the usual Warhammer World stuff. Huge museum display, etc. I then go into the gaming hall to get the free Beaky Marine model to paint, but sadly, they have been consumed by all the nerds in a 50-mile radius. I decided to go to Bugman's bar for a drink. Not alcohol, I'm not doing underage drinking yet. Good lad. When I come back through the gaming hall, Chad 2, a different staff member, tells me he has got something for me, and pulls out a Beaky from the demo table. He says that he has something else for me. He takes me to a table where there is this really cool sergeant from the new box set and asks me if I would like that instead. This isn't your regular sergeant though. This guy has the whole shebang. Scanner, unique headpiece and other accessories of course. I accept the offer and then I end up with a really sick sergeant. I take him over to the painting table and sorry North, but I paint him in the Space Wolves Legion scheme. No problem. I'm not a neckbeard furry. I did him in Iron Warriors. Good lad. Good lad. Had me going there for a second. She said, joking, I'm not a neckbeard furry. I did him in the Iron Warriors because of your video on the Legion. Ah, cheers, man. Unfortunately, the event ends just as I'm getting my base coats on him. So we have to leave. Chad 2, however, does hand me several paintbrushes and tells me to keep them as they were going to throw them away anyway. This alone was my best experience of my hobby ever and probably will remain that way for the rest of my hobby career. As I'm walking down the stairs that the drunk guy dropped his models on, yep, that was one, yeah, I remember that story, Chad 1 asks me if I want the Horus Heresy Day standee. It's bigger than me, of course. Of course I say yes. With a lot of effort, we shove him in the car. We will risk being pulled over as it was so big, but it was worth it. Plastic crack, always worth it. Now, I have a beaky standee greeting anyone that dares walk into my hobby room. This really changed my view of the Games Workshop employees, and now I'm going to be in the hobby for the rest of my life. If anyone who helped me is listening to this, thanks so much for the free stuff. You made a 14-year-old's year. I have another mini story involving Chad 2 that happened this weekend. If you want, I will submit it. I know you're going to read this next, but thanks so much for the vids. I listen to them when I'm hobbying or doing work or exercising. Have a good one, man. Yeah, send me that other one. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. So, before I go into anything else about this story, just skipping this song because I don't like it. There you go. Before I go into anything else about the story, I think this is showing you just why we say to Games Workshop staffers, stop being Jobsworths. Stop being Jobsworths and actually represent the hobby in a decent way. Represent us in a decent way. Go and find players and harangue them in. And be cool to them. And make sure that they're never going to want to step out of this hobby again. How easy was this, right? We get you into the event, fair enough, no skin off my nose. I give you one of the models that's on the hobby stand. Yeah, no skin off my nose. None of this costs the company any money. You're going to throw, those demo models or demo models for a reason, right? The painting brushes, you're going to throw them away anyway. It doesn't cost the company anything, and now you've got a customer for life. This is how easy it is to retain customers, and this is why I'm completely baffled why Games Workshop gets it wrong so often. I just do not understand where they get this from. But well done to the staff at Warhammer World for making this guy's day. I'm really, really, really happy about that. So, if you're ever in Warhammer World and you see one of the lads there, make sure, or girls, make sure you talk to them and make them know, these guys are cool. And let them know I sent you, and I think they're cool as well for doing this. Alright. So, Milkmonger is back, ladies and gentlemen. And he says, "Hey Northern, I'm glad you enjoyed my writing for the gatekeeping episode. I actually copyright for a living, so I'm glad it was legible, lol. I had a question for you. A position opened up at my local Warhammer store, and my sister is trying to get it. She was told the cover letter was the most important part. Do you have any hints or tips for what she should add? Right now, the plan is to focus on her previous people-facing sales positions, building a community at the Kung Fu Temple we used to attend, and her willingness to learn new things, citing her progress learning Japanese. Do you think that's a good start? I remember you saying long ago in an older video that Games Workshop doesn't care about hobby stuff when applying to work there. Thank you for your time." So, yes, Games Workshop doesn't give a shit about what you've done in the hobby in previous years. They do care that you're passionate about the product though. So it doesn't sound like you've actually put anything about that in here. All this stuff's really good. You've built a place. You've got experience. You've got the the bones of a good argument here for why she should join Games Workshop. The other part that I'd like you to add, mainly, is talking about her first experiences in the hobby. Make sure you do that. You know, what brought her into the hobby, right? And the most important thing, more important than anything that you've put on here so far, the most important thing is that you understand Games Workshop is a business and you want to help grow that business. Because as far as you're concerned, without Games Workshop, there is no hobby, because they do the best models in the world, and you want to make sure that more people get an opportunity to come into the world of Games Workshop and paint cool models. Take that verbatim if you want, because if you put that in your... I'm telling you now, I've said this to people before, and then they've gotten interviews with Games Workshop, right? A few of them have then gone on to get jobs. Okay, we've gone over this in previous videos, right? I've said this advice to people before. This will get you an interview at Games Workshop. Right? Though saying that, along with everything else, will get you an interview at Games Workshop. So make sure that, yes, you touch on your hobby, you know, but you touch on... It's got to be, I would say, your hobby should be about 10% of your overall cover letter. So, touch on your hobby, you know, how you got into it, what you love about it, you know. Branch that into how you've built communities in the past, and how you're good at learning new things, i.e. the Japanese. And then finally, make sure that you hammer home that you understand that Games Workshop is a business, that you want to support and grow that business, that, you know, if you really want to impress them, say that one day you'd love to be a manager, and that you will want this next role in your life to be your last. That's what I said in my cover letter and my interview, and they were very happy with that. I said, yeah, I want to be here till I retire. And they said, you realise you're only going to be a sales assistant? I said, yes, but not forever. I'm going to be a manager. I'm going to be a manager. I'm going to be a Games Workshop manager. It's what I've always wanted to do. And they love that, because they like feeling special. They're a geeky company. They like people coming in that they can mould, right? And as soon as if you're going in there already with a head start saying, listen, I understand that you're a business, guys, but I want to help grow that business in any way that I can. Please train me. I'm a moulded piece of clay here. Just train me, and I'll be exactly what you want me to be. You will get an interview, and if you carry that attitude into your interview, you will get the job. You could have somebody with more experience than you. If they don't say those things and you do, you will get the job. Even if you're fresh out of college or fresh out of high school, you will get the job over somebody who's got loads of retail experience. That's just how they are. Alright? Hope that helps you. And please make sure that you tell me how she does when she applies. And tell me how she does at her interview, because if she follows the advice, she will get an interview. So tell me how she does. Or if she wants to speak to me about the interview, I'm available to do that as well. Just let me know. Right. Death Chase is back. From a few videos ago. Hiya, Exile. I want to first apologise for my grammar in the last story I sent you. Maybe it was just a language barrier between America and England, lol. Well, you never know. My story today consists of myself getting kicked out of a group running Dungeons & Dragons. Alright, I think this is the only D&D story we've got today. This was an in-real-life group of friends that consisted of 10 players. The campaign was getting boring after about 5 hours, and about 5 players were doing nearly nothing as we hadn't done any encounters yet. So, I decided to spice up the fun by making an encounter of my own by using a magical item that spawned random creatures out of a bag of beans. The group was excited about this, and the DM thought it'd be fun. I told them that I was going to cast a meteor storm to try and wipe out the creatures, however. I misunderstood that some of the players' excitement was due to them wanting to tame some of the creatures. Okay. Let's take a little drink here. Immediately, a huge argument came about between two sets of players. I tried to explain that the magic for the creatures would disappear after 1 minute, so taming the creatures would do nothing. I had a couple of players agree with me, whilst the others were asking the DM to retcon the meteor storm. Wow, this seems like a really nice bunch. It was at this time that the host of the group, the one out of 2 females out of the 10 players, started to cry and complain that I wasn't being fair by not allowing her and a couple of others to keep the creatures. Right, yeah. This happened to me once at university when a really hot girl wanted to join our D&D group. And she insisted on having a sky bison. Sky bisons aren't a thing in the setting that I was running at the time. And a few of the lads were like, yeah, she should have a sky bison. Fucking simping. And I wouldn't let her do it. It went against every single fibre of my being. So she just sat there in a huff and crossed her arms. But, you know, go fuck yourself. It's my game. And this seems like the same thing. A lot of what she said was paraphrased as the words she used aren't exactly YouTube friendly. I wouldn't worry about that, dude. Nothing I say is YouTube friendly. I tried to calm her and explain once again, but I couldn't get out much more than a word because I was promptly cut off by the dungeon master, told to shut up, and yelled at by him, saying that I was being inconsiderate of her feelings and was being rude to her. Wow. I called him a sexist for not allowing me to defend myself, and called him out for white knighting the host just because she was crying. The players that agreed with me before defended me here as well. However, because she had such a contempt for me within the situation, I was promptly kicked out of the house. The group after that night was in a rough patch and never got in another session. All of us are not friends with the host anymore. Thanks for reading and apologies if I messed up the grammar. No, you didn't, man. This was good. This really sucks. But do you know when we talk about gatekeeping? And we talk about, you know, why sometimes it's a shitty thing and sometimes it's a good thing, depending on how you're using it. When gatekeepers who are doing it in a bad way, in bad faith, talk about women in the hobby, this is the kind of woman they mean. If it's Warhammer or if it's D&D, whatever it is, this is the kind of woman they're talking about. You know, very furious when they don't get their own way, stamping their feet, you know, really hot, but, you know, everybody in the party wants to fuck them, and it just ruins the whole ambience and ruins everything, right? And, again, it's the men's fault as well. You know, you shouldn't... If a hot woman is at your table, just ignore the shit out of her. Just, you know, treat her like a dude, man. Just treat her like anybody else. Because... You know, I'm telling you now, treating a woman like that differently is not going to get you anywhere. It just isn't. So if you really want to get in somebody's pants, that's not the way to do it. Right? Going, oh, well, you know, you should have this and you should have that and everyone should just bow down to what you want. No. You're just an idiot and she knows you're an idiot. And that just is what it is. So, yeah. People like this are enabled by, yes, not gatekeeping properly. Right, people like this need to be gatekept. I'm saying it now, right? If you're a bad actor, and what I mean by that is, if you're a person with bad intentions coming into a hobby that isn't yours, you should be gatekept. Just is what it is. I've said it before, right? Now, backtracking, as long as we can decide on what a bad actor looks like. I saw a very interesting argument before, a few days ago, about Elden Ring, which is the new video game by From Software. Now, From Software games are very, very, very difficult, and they're not really my cup of tea, hence why I don't get involved, because, you know, I don't like clunky gameplay. I've played Ghost of Tsushima, and I can't play Dark Souls or anything like that after I've played Ghost of Tsushima. I'm sorry, I just can't. But anyway, the community there has said that you shouldn't have difficulty sliders within their games, because the difficulty is part of the game's charm. It's what you should be there for, and if you're not there for that, then you shouldn't be playing that game. There are plenty of other games for you to play, so go and play those instead, right? Now, there are people on either side of the fence, and whether that's a good form of gatekeeping or not. I think it's a bad form of gatekeeping, because all you're doing by doing that is you're stopping people from playing the game, right? They're still playing the game with the difficulty slider. They're still playing the same game, okay? Maybe they're avoiding the bits that you think, because you're super hard and you can sit there and play this game for hours and tens of hours on end before you beat a boss. Maybe that's for you. But at the same time, appealing to a wider audience, you've got to be very, very careful when you've got a fan base. Appealing to a wider audience means you're going to make more money. As long as it's done correctly, okay? I feel that those games could do with a difficulty slider. I do. I think it would get in people who are more casual, yes. But as long as those people are coming into the game and they're loving the lore, there'll be a lot of people who want to play Dark Souls, who want to play Elden Ring, who love the lore, love the story, really want to experience it, but because they've got really busy jobs, or because they've got a family to look after, or because they've got other real-world commitments, like they're running a business, they don't have the time to sit there for 6-7 hours beating a single boss. Okay? Do those people deserve to miss out on that experience? Just because you want your toy in the way that you want your toy? No. No, you're being a dick, right? That's a bad form of gatekeeping for me. And that's what I mean. The From Software community are going through those very growing pains right now, the same as we are. I think we're a bit further down the road, to be honest with you, because we're now defining what good and bad gatekeeping is. But people like this in Death Chaser's story need to be gatekept, because I was gatekeeping when I told that girl she couldn't have her Sky Bison, and she either plays the game in good faith or she doesn't play at all. I'm gatekeeping. I'm saying no, I'm sorry. This is the hobby. This is what the hobby is, right? If you're not going to play by, if you're not actually going to get involved in what the hobby is, then don't be here, okay? I don't agree that From Software it is about difficulty, and from every interview I've seen, even From Software say that their games are not about difficulty. They've said that all along. It's not about difficulty. It's about telling a story through an environment. That's what it's about, right? Overcoming obstacles, sure, but it's about an unfolding story told through the environment. That's what it's about. And if you're denying that to people because you want it to not have any difficulty sliders, because you get to act like such a big-time Charlie when you beat a certain boss, dude, you need to get out more. That's just what you need to do. So there are good and bad forms of gatekeeping. I love talking about this stuff. It's so interesting, as you can probably tell. But yeah, in this instance, this person should have been gatekept long before we got to this stage. It should have been just, look, listen. And it turns out, looks like she has been, right? Because none of you go around to play there anymore. And I'm sure, look, if you think this is harsh, I'm sure if this girl in this story, turned up after a few years or a few months, maybe even a few weeks, and said, look, I'm really sorry about that. I now understand what the hobby's about. Please, can I have another chance to play? I bet you that group would go, sure, come on in. Come on in. Because that's a good form of gatekeeping. Somebody coming in and saying, look, I love your hobby, I love these things about the hobby, and I don't like these things about the hobby, but I really want to explore these things. Like, say if you're coming into Horus Heresy, I love the models, I love the lore, but I'm not really into the game. Okay? Would you gatekeep that person from playing Horus Heresy? For being in the Horus Heresy community? Of course you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. You would never do that. Right? Because the hobby is about finding what you enjoy in that hobby and latching onto it and doing that. Exactly my point on the From Software games, which is how I'm framing this argument. You know what I mean? Anyway, I should probably move on. So, I imagine the chat is now going crazy. Is the chat going crazy? Future Northern Exile, is the chat going crazy? Probably. Actually, no. Future Northern Exile is probably on his run right now, which is probably why he's not in the chat. Oh, he's neglecting you. You should all be really, really, really upset that he's neglecting you. I think he does this far too often. What a terrible human being. Anyway. Eshatonin, or Eskatonin, says, Hi North, I wanted to give you a hobby anti-nightmare of mine that's in the May Strum a Few Heartstrings category. Okay, alright, well, we'll see, won't we? So, for a little bit of history. I originally bought and played 40k in the year 2000 when I was 13 years old. Playing Blood Angels after. When going to the local store to buy a HQ blister, my first choice of an Eldar Psyker was either unavailable or cost more than I had. That lasted until I got to climb the social ladder over the next year and kind of repressed my nerdiness. My next proper attempt of getting into the hobby was in 2015, when I started collecting Tau. In brackets, I was only keen on them for a very long time since they were a shooty army and, when playing Alliance in World of Warcraft, my favourite race was the Draenei. Draenei, whatever that means, and had bought at least and assembled an 800-point army. Nice. I went down to the local hobby store on a 40k night to play for the first time, and whilst it was fun, the anxiety build-up from the night just put me off, and I ended up accidentally leaving a painted ethereal at the store and never coming back for it, selling my broadside and keeping my unpainted squad of fire warriors, 2 crisis suits and a commander. Oh, what a shame. It really sucks when mental illness gets in the way like that. So, you know, you have my sympathies, man. That sucks. What I would find out relatively recently is that this anxiety was caused by the effects of an even bigger problem in my life. Obstructive sleep apnea. Oh, that is terrible, but it's also really awesome that you figured out what it was, because now you can treat it. It probably became a big deal in 2007 after having glandular fever that can cause permanent physical changes in the areas it affects, including the size of the soft palate at the back of the throat. Okay, this started generally reducing my ability to work, socialise, and eventually even things like reading and maintaining adequate focus on things like movies, etc. Basically, everything became overwhelming, so I was forced to avoid a lot of things lest my mind made me hate these things I would otherwise enjoy due to the bad experience. Another effect of it is increased hypervigilance, hence the experience I had in 2015. Wow, okay, cool. So, I got myself referred to a specialist service. After my flatmate told me he heard me choking during sleep, I began connecting the dots, and I was diagnosed last year. I was tested at 90.6 full apneas an hour at 21 seconds each, averages for those in the know. Doesn't that mean you stop breathing? So you stop breathing for 21 seconds an hour. Fucking hell. No, 90.6. So you... Does that mean you stop breathing for 21 seconds, 90.6 times an hour? How are you not dead? That can't be what that means. I'm being retarded. Yeah, I'm being retarded. That can't be what that means. Anyway, ignore me. I then started on a CPAP just over 6 months ago. Yeah, I've heard they do work wonders. Following a big leap in recovery in the past few months, among other things, dropped my sodium and sugar cravings a heap, and let me start saving a decent amount of money, I let myself reach a savings target, and I bought paints and tools I was missing to make a start on the Fire Warriors, Crisis Suits, and Commander. Well, that I had left from 2015, and I have really been enjoying it. I have really been wanting some kind of hobby that I can get into at home that isn't watching a show or playing a video game after work until I finish it or get bored. And eventually, I branch into the social aspect as symptoms of the sleep apnea fade and let me get my life back. I have a bunch more exercise and weight loss to get done to be ready to get back into a job, and another job. High fatigue plus the cravings put you really out of shape. Or be able to stand for a few games in a wargaming night with minimal strain, but for now, the painting and plans for painting, basing, etc. have been a blast. Awesome, man. I'm really glad you got your life back. Don't let it go to waste. This is a second chance you've got now. Do not let this go to fucking waste. Alright? Don't. Your 20s are a lost decade. No matter who you are, especially for guys. Your 20s are a lost decade where you generally make all of your mistakes, you work out all of your kinks, you get all of the shit out your system, and sometimes even into your 30s, into your mid-30s, late 30s, you're getting yourself sorted out and trying to get yourself ready to go, right? That's just how life goes. But now, you look like you're on an even keel. Don't let it go to waste. Drop that weight if you can. Get out there. Be the best version of yourself. By the time you get to... if you're in your 20s, by the time you get to 30... have an idea of how you want your life to look, and how you want yourself to look, and how you want your mental health to look like, and work towards those things. Even if you can only do one thing a day, do something. Just do something. Because that's what beats depression. That's what beats anxiety, is just doing something. It doesn't matter if it's a tiny thing, like getting a shower, alright? Or going for a run, or eating well that day. It doesn't matter. Something. Do something to start the process, and it looks like you're on the way. So well done, man. And hey, if you're gonna get any more models, Use the promo code, get 25% off. Look at that. Shameless plug. Right. Now for the main event. It's not such a long story, but it is one that is going to require a bit of a talking about, because I lose my shit halfway through the story. Okay, so Corona Fires says, "Hi Exile." I'm going to have a little drink of water before I read this one. Right. He says, "Hi Exile. Bit of a serious one if you don't mind. So, I have been married for 7 years, and I got married to my high school girlfriend. She's funny and intelligent, a real looker, geeky, the lot. I guess you can say I really looked out in high school. Not that I'm ugly or anything. I'm tall and I've been described as good looking by my guy friends when they take the piss out of me being the, and I quote, the Jaime Lannister to their Bronze." Okay. He says, "I don't agree with that particularly. I have self-esteem issues and I'd never get into with them. It's weird that people saying stuff like that makes me feel uncomfortable when others would love to hear that, I guess. But I digress. Well, do you know what, man? Like, you know, I would say I'm a solid 6 out of 10 in terms of looks. You know what I mean? If I really dress up, I reckon I can push a 7. Do you know what I mean? But when you do hear stuff like that, like, oh, you've lost weight, or oh, you're looking good, or oh, I also have a real bad the case of imposter syndrome when it comes to looks. When somebody like compliments me on anything, I'm like, yeah, fuck off. Like, what do you want? What do you want from me? You're lying, you know. And I just can't take it. It seems like you're on the same boat. But yeah, I don't look like Jaime Lannister, for fuck's sake. Sounds like you do though. Lucky twat. Anyway, so me and my wife are both huge wargaming nerds. Lucky twat, again. She's a bit of a unicorn like that. I am a very small town in outlook, and so is she. But she recently got a job in downtown Chicago, whilst our home is in the northern suburbs. I heard you were here. Where were you? So I was in Winnetka, in the northern suburbs of Chicago, which is a very, 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 very affluent area. I wasn't paying for that, of course, but it was like a suburban paradise up there. Yeah, everyone up there was a very small town, like what you're saying, very Midwestern nice. Very everyone's going for a jog during the day. Hi, you know, just going for a jog and shit like that. And I'm walking around like a vampire. Please like me, you know. So yeah. Anyway. You could always tell where I was because the sun was like burning off of me. I was that pale. Anyway. So, I guess you can say we are both a bit wholesome like that. Oh yeah, it was definitely wholesome up there. After a few weeks, my wife makes a few friends at work. She works at a rather large video game developer, and they start heading out on Friday nights. I think nothing of this. I'm not much of a drinker, and I work in wargaming. In brackets, I run a few hobby stores in the Illinois area. Very decent money. He says, so I head out once a month with my friends, if that. Normally, we just play war games. That's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool work-life balance. She keeps coming home later and later, though, and won't stop talking about her friends. I mean, this is fine, but I do get the sense she's a little distracted. The sex also begins to stop a little. We go from like 3 to 5 times a week to like once if we're lucky. I put this down to us both being busier now that she has a job too. Okay. She keeps talking about her manager, a guy, who is acting as her tutor essentially. Red flag. Red flag. This goes on for a few weeks, and I'm telling you now, this does not end in the way you think it will. Okay, alright. Eventually, she comes home one day and asks me straight up if I am happy. And I say yes. She then says she thinks having an open relationship will be good for us. I shit you not, she asked just like that. Ah, boy. I am flawed, to say the least. This is not my thing at all. I love her though, and we have a house together, we're planning a family, it's not an easy thing to get out of. So, I tell her this is not for me, but I will do it if she needs that. The most stupid decision I have ever made. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Yeah. Listen, when somebody comes to you, I'm gonna say from a man's point of view now. So please don't be offended if you're a lady and you're in the comments. If a woman comes to you and you've been with her, doesn't matter for how long, and she wants an open relationship, kick her fucking ass to the curb that second. Literally just pick her up and walk her outside and close the door. Just be like, no, just you're gone. See ya. Or if it's not your house, just leave. Just leave. Go. It's over. The relationship's over. Everything's over. Go. You are too good to be somebody's second choice. Fuck that person. And screw their fucked up morals. Walk. Alright? If you get into a relationship that is pansexual, fine. Do whatever the hell you want. If you were into it, if you start a relationship that's pansexual, whatever, dude. You're a bit weird. It's not for me, but you do you. But if your wife or significant other wants to open up your monogamous relationship to other people, tell her to get the fuck out. Straight away. Right, moving on. I eventually asked my wife if she was seeing anyone after a couple of weeks, and she affirmed that she was, and that I should too if this was going to work. Alright, so she's encouraging you to get out there and find someone, okay. For the next few months, she would go out, have fun, and do whatever, and then come home. I was miserable. I hated it. I hated it so much that I started to go out with my own buddies, and eventually, I went to a gig in downtown Chicago, a metal night. Whilst there, I met a lady. Italian, badass attitude, stunning. Think Christina Scabbia from Lacuna Coil. But really into video games. Damn. I forgot. I read this a few days ago. I forgot about that part. Yep. That's gonna do it. Sorry, what was I doing? Right, yeah. Reading a story. She works as a graphic designer for a video game company. We dance and drink together, kiss, and eventually we exchange phone numbers. We start dating after this, and she honestly makes me feel like I could do anything. She's just amazing. She's this amazing rock that doesn't move when everything else is going on crazy around her. And she's proud to walk into a room with me. I just love spending time with her. Dude, brilliant. Brilliant. The only thing you're missing here is that you should have already gotten rid of your... Never mind, I'll come back to this. Eventually, my wife finds this out, and initially thinks it's quite cute that I found someone. As the months go by, I leave the room to answer my girlfriend's calls. I smile when I get a text from her. I blow off wife plans to see her. All these things my wife picks up on, of course, and starts to have a few doubts on whether being in an open relationship is what she wants. Yeah, no shit. No shit. She was fine when it was just you who was miserable. She was fine then. Why is she okay now? Why all of a sudden now does she want to start the relationship again, right? Fuck this person, honestly. I know this because 4 days ago she told me just that. So it'd be like a week ago now. So, because four days ago she told me just that. She said this is killing her and she needs to stop. I had not slept with my girlfriend yet, and asked my wife if she had slept around during her time in an open relationship. Of course she had, but at least she had the stones to admit it. I asked if one of these guys was her manager at work, and she also admitted that yes, he was. Yeah, fuck this person. Fuck this person. Gone. See ya. Get in the fucking bin. Get in the bin. You fucking silly woman. Get in the bin. Anyway, I just left. Not good lad. I forgot about this. Good lad. Yeah, it's been a few days. Yes, excellent. I just left. I'm not really angry because I put myself in this situation, but I was just done. I felt nothing for her. The fact that she told me and I felt nothing showed me that I felt nothing for her. There is a twinge of regret in my heart though. Like, what do? I also find out that whilst my girlfriend does not work for the same game studio as my wife, they are two linked studios under the same publisher, so I'd rather avoid a huge fallout. And yes, my girlfriend knows about the situation. Okay. My wife wants to go to marriage counselling, but I'm afraid of getting stuck in a rut again, and I really like my girlfriend. One wargamer to another, what the fuck do I do? I should also mention my girlfriend is liking the idea of Iron Warriors. Dude, she even likes Iron Warriors! This is the Christina Scabbia lookalike who likes Iron Warriors. Guys, if you don't know who Christina Scabbia is, Google her right now. Right? Now, that's what she looks like in her 50s. Yeah. Should have seen what she looked like in like her 20s and 30s. Ridiculous, right? If you've got a woman of that caliber, dude, and she's cool, she's into wargames, she makes you laugh, she makes you feel good, and it seems like you're falling in love with this person. Dude, what are you doing? You know the answer. Kick this wife to the curb and go live your life. I'm sorry. She's made a huge mistake, but she didn't give a shit about your feelings. She had her head turned by her friends, most of whom are probably single, and want somebody to go out with, who are toxic, right? She slept around with multiple people, it sounds like. Fuck this person. Get her in the bin. Right? Get in the sea. Piss off. Go. Go. Write back to me. If you... Honestly, if you give this another chance, from what you've told me, I'm going to be really annoyed. Because this is some toxic bullshit right here. She didn't give a shit about what you thought. She didn't give a shit about how you felt until you got the same amount of happiness that she did. And then all of a sudden, she's upset. Fuck this person, dude. That's manipulation of the highest order. She's playing you like a fiddle at the moment. Get out. Get out. I can see from what you've said there, you're starting to, teeter a little bit. Don't listen to it. Listen to your gut. Your gut is saying, from what you've told me, your gut is saying, this other woman is the woman for me, and she's everything that I want. And do you know what, man? Even if she's not, even if you go with this girlfriend and you break up after a few months, you'll still be ahead of the curve. Because you're good looking, you're single, you've got a decent job. You're still way ahead of the curve. Get this woman out of your fucking life right now. Right? I'm telling you now, you can be with somebody, I know you've been with her since you were in high school. I was with somebody for ages as well. You can be with somebody for ages and not really know them. I'm telling you now. Right? I've discussed it before on the channel. Last big relationship that I had didn't end that well. Right? She was a different person afterwards, man. I'm telling you now. I didn't know her at all. I thought I did, I didn't. You need to go and make sure that you get out of this right now, from what you've told me. Now, that's my advice from what you've told me. If there are other things going on, I'm not being held responsible if you're acting on that advice and it all going tits up in your face if you've not told me anything. But from what you've told me, that's what you're supposed to do. Just get the fuck out of there. Take this Christina Scabbia lookalike, bend her over the nearest barrel, and just fucking do that for the next 6 months. Just throw yourself into this, man. Throw yourself into this other woman and get out there and have fun. Right? Just take her out. Take her out. Be proud to be with her. Just as she's proud to be with you, take her out and go, this is my lady. Look at this. I've done that before. Like, I've done that before. If I'm with a girl who I think is hotter than me, I'll just admit it straight up. We'll be like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I did that. It just fucking happened, because it's funny. Because women love us for different things, right? They're amazing. Men are very looks oriented for the most part, but women love us for different things than looks. They're amazing like that, right? So never, doesn't matter what you look like, guys. It really doesn't. I mean, it may seem so if you go on Tinder and shit like that, but if you go out and you talk some shit and you're really funny, you'll be fine, man. You'll be fine. So, please write back to me when you can. Tell me how things are going. I'm free for a call because I'm really, really interested in how this goes. Yeah. So, but well done to you, and please do the right thing, for God's sake. Right. those are the hobby nightmares for the day. Ended on a big one there, I know, but I got that one on Monday, and I was like, well, I'm not going to do it on Wednesday because it's too near to the 3D printing video, but I really want to do it. But anyway, if you want to support me, please, 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 go down to the link below, Composite Games. Get yourself 25% off using the promo code Northern Exile down below on your purchase on Composite Games. They've been really helping out the channel, so please, please, really help out them too. If you want to help me, subscribe to the channel, like the video, do all that fun stuff. I'm working on some more sponsoring opportunities, which should be on the way soon. And, of course, thank you very, very, very much to my backers, the immortal Astral backers, my channel members, and, of course, the Legends Hall there, for helping out the channel in every single way that you can. I'll be adding to the Astral backers over the weekend, so your names, if you've been this week, should appear on Monday's video. I love you all long time. Have an amazing week. Well, weekend now. I may do some streaming over the weekend, because I'm not going out, I've decided. I'm going to be a good boy, and not spend any money, and give my liver a rest. Love you all. See you later. Have a good one.